Mrs. Dillman, so I'm getting a lot of emails because apparently we have reached maximum capacity. So I'm going to ask Ms. Samuedo to record this meeting. Parents, please know that we will record this meeting, okay? So please be aware that we'll be recording this meeting. Thank you.
All right, sorry, I was muted and I was stuck on mute. So yes, we will definitely record the meeting. I apologize for that situation, but we'll record it and we'll send it out to our families. So the emergency order for the state. So the first thing, the most important thing is, especially if you're a parent who has your child home currently in our FAR model, which is remote learning, our state has decided that the assessments for the state assessments, there is no remote assessments. What that means is that your child who is a FAR is unable to take the state assessment at their house. So that's the first big one. So in order to give you the opportunity to bring your child to campus, we are going to talk about our plan in a couple minutes of how we're going to make that happen for our campus. So again, we are providing the opportunity for our FAR families to return to campus for testing purposes. Mr. Delgado, I know we're going to translate, so I'm going to go through the slide. We do want to translate to Spanish for any of our families in that situation. Okay. So besides the no remote testing, again, that means that your child who is in our FAR model is unable to take the state assessment at their house. So they would have to come to campus. Again, we have a plan for this. They would have to come to campus in order to take that state assessment. The other important thing that the state wants our parents to understand, and this is for all of the schools in Broward County and in Florida, Florida has a no opt-out policy for state assessments used as the required measures of student achievement for every Student Succeeds Act of 2015. So essentially what this means is the final determination of whether a student is in attendance on a scheduled testing day remains with the parent. So that's super, super important to understand. The decision to bring your child from afar to take the state test is the parent's decision. So that is an important state mandate that has been made this current year in regards to all the models we have going on. Mr. Delgado, do you want to translate?
Of course. Bueno, buenas noches para los padres y las madres que prefieran escuchar en español. Hemos decidido que esta información es muy importante y por eso queríamos traducir toda la presentación. Para empezar, queríamos recordarles o decirles que el Departamento de la Florida, de Educación de la Florida, no permite el test que sea a distancia. Así que todos los estudiantes tienen que tomar el test en la escuela. La segunda nota informativa es que, a diferencia de otros estados, el estado de la Florida no tiene lo que llaman un opt-out form. No hay una forma que ustedes puedan rellenar para opt-out, para decidir no hacer el test. Aunque no existe esa forma, los padres sí pueden decidir que su estudiante no toma el test simplemente sin traerlo a la escuela. Quiero decir, al final del día va a ser su decisión. Ustedes van a decidir si su hijo o hija va a tomar el test o no. No tienen que hacer una forma determinada, solamente tienen que no traer a los chicos a la escuela. Nosotros sí vamos a enviar un survey que lo van a tener que rellenar, pero no hay una forma determinada. Ms. Dillman?
Are we allowed to ask questions now or no?
So we're going to actually keep going. I might answer your question. So I'm going to stop probably in a couple slides to answer some of those questions, because these are going to be the big topics I know that you're probably curious about. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to go through a couple slides and then I'll ask for any questions. All right. So as I mentioned before, we're going to talk about a survey that is going to be sent to our families who have their children home in our FAR model, which is going to really help us with our planning. That survey is going to ask if you are going to bring your child for testing. Again, that's going to be a survey sent only to our parents of children of our scholars that are in our Attire model. Again, the state also wants us to understand that the goal of the statewide assessments is to provide academic achievement and learning gains data. So it does provide data for us as a school, as well as you as a parent. To students, parents, our educators, us as administrators, and the district staff to really measure that progress and achievement for our learners. While there's no single assessment that is a sole determiner for promotion purposes, the state assessments or the results are considered of a variety of school-based decisions, such as promotion, forced placement, which really we look at when we go into middle school from 5th grade, and any acceptance into magnet programs. So students who do not participate in the mandatory statewide assessments do risk the possibility of being placed in remediation the following school year and other consequences such as retention. Again, this is a state policy that they want to make sure that all families understand. This is all based on the district's student progression plan. In the next couple of slides, we are going to specifically talk about what 3rd grade promotion looks like, 4th and 5th. So I'll stop after we finish the promotion criteria, because I'm sure that's what's on your mind, as well as the state testing. Mr. Delgado?
El objetivo del FSA testing o de los exámenes al final del año es para proveernos con información a los padres, a los estudiantes, a los administradores, a los maestros, información de cómo están los niños haciendo en determinadas áreas. El hecho de, si ustedes no deciden que su hijo no tome este examen, nos va a privar de esa información. No se usa solamente el FSA test para decidir si un estudiante pasa al siguiente curso o no. Se utilizan mucha otra información, otros datos que tenemos sobre los chicos. Pero lo que sí puede pasar si su hijo o hija no toma el examen es que el año que viene en su schedule, en su horario, estén entrando en clases de intensivo, de reading. En las áreas, Miss Dillman va a explicar un poco ese tipo de consecuencias y lo que vamos a hacer en Franklin para promotion, es decir, para pasar a los chicos al siguiente curso. Miss Dillman?
Perfect. So I'm going to specifically talk about each grade level. So we'll give you a bigger picture of basically what that is saying and what the state is talking about. So basically what they want you to understand is that there's not one sole method in order to move forward to the next grade level, which is the promotion. So in regards to 3rd grade, let's start there. So the policy of the district 6000.1 states the criteria set for each grade level from kindergarten to 5th grade. Again, tonight we're discussing 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And this is set for each school in regards to promotion or movement to the next grade level. For 3rd grade specifically, as you see, there are multiple chances in order to be promoted to the next grade level. So the first on the promotion criteria is scores of level 2 or greater on the FSA for English language arts. So that is the state assessment that we're discussing tonight. There is another opportunity. One of them is currently happening as of now. That's happening with our Attire learners currently and our Live and Flex, and that is the portfolio. So that is going on currently. It's already underway, and that's another opportunity to be promoted to 4th grade from our 3rd graders currently, and that is state approved. There is another opportunity outside of the portfolio and the state assessment, and that's going to be a state approved achievement test in reading comprehension. We're not given the name of that assessment as of yet. That's why I don't have a name on there for you guys tonight, but we are finding out that information. Through those different assessments, again, we're looking at promotion through different criteria, so it's not just one sole determiner. The other criteria that there is, and another opportunity, we like to say for 3rd grade, if one of the students, for example, was not able to be successful on the previous assessments, there is a program, and this year, I believe is going to be live. Last year, it was remote, is a reading academy for third grade promotion. And that happens, the student actually goes not to our school location, but they're zoned for another public school location, and they go to a reading academy for a certain amount of time in the summer. And there is an assessment at the end of that reading academy. Again, it often changes of what assessment it will be. But again, as we get information, we will definitely give you the information as well. So the most important thing to take out of this slide is the state test is not the only way for your third grader to be promoted to the next year, which is fourth grade. Mr. Delgado?
Para los padres de tercer grado, vamos a hablar de qué se usa para promotion, es decir, para pasar los chicos de tercero a cuarto grado. Hay una ley, la ley 6000.1, que es una ley estatal, que es la que establece el criterio para pasar a los chicos de grado desde kinder hasta 12 grado. Concretamente en tercer grado, el FSA test es importante. Es importante porque la primera norma para pasar a los chicos de tercero a cuarto grado es que los chicos tengan un nivel 2 o mayor en el FSA. A pesar de que es muy importante el FSA, no es la única forma para pasar a los chicos de tercero a cuarto. Es bueno que tomen el FSA, pero si no lo toman, se van a usar otras medidas. En primer lugar, hay un examen extra que debe ser aprobado por el Estado. Nosotros ya hemos preguntado al distrito cuál va a ser el examen este año. La mala noticia es que ese examen también tiene que ser tomado en la escuela. Hay otro tipo de assessment o de prueba que sus hijos ya están tomando en tercer grado, que es lo que llamamos el portfolio. Los chicos lo van tomando a lo largo del año, empezando en el segundo quarter hasta el último quarter, que funciona como un segundo plan en caso de que los chicos no pasen el FSA o no lo tomen este año. Si su hijo o hija ha pasado este assessment, esta prueba de portfolio, los chicos pueden ser promovidos al cuarto grado. También durante el verano, si su hijo o hija está todavía en peligro de ser retenido en tercer grado, el distrito va a poner un programa que es un programa de verano, que ya nos han dicho que va a ser en persona, va a ser live, y al final de ese programa de verano, su hijo o hija va a tomar otro test para ser promovido a cuarto grado. Is that it?
Perfect. And the one thing I wanted to add before I go to fourth and fifth promotion criteria is that I want to go through the assessments very quickly just to understand where they would take the assessment. So again, portfolio is currently underway. Your FAR students that are home learning, they're actually doing it remotely. Our Live and Flex are on campus for that assessment. The other assessments, such as the state test, the children from afar, again, would have to come to campus to take the state assessment. The state approved achievement test, if your child needed to take that assessment for promotion, they would also have to come to campus for that assessment. And again, the Reading Academy, as far as I know right now for the district, will be a live situation. We are going to continue to update you if your child is in one of these situations that they would need another criteria for promotion. And we'll keep you updated with that information. For fourth and fifth specifically, we're looking at reading or English language arts and mathematics. So notice in third grade, we're specifically looking at English language arts and reading. Fourth and fifth, we're looking at both subjects. So the first criteria would be scores level 2 or greater on the FSA, which is the state assessment we're discussing tonight for English language arts. There is another assessment which will occur later, and that's going to be in May. The scores level 2 or greater on the FSA for mathematics. There is also another opportunity if your child, for example, from afar did not participate in state testing, we would use other opportunities for promotion. There will be a state-approved alternative assessment in reading and math. Again, we're not sure what the name of those assessments are, at this time. We also look at school-based data. That can be benchmark testing, which actually has occurred throughout the year. We've done benchmark testing. So your child from afar has taken those assessments remotely. We also do a benchmark assessment system, the BAS, We have been administering in certain classes. It hasn't been mandated throughout the school. Again, we can use it for promotion criteria, looking at all of the data for a student. We do take into consideration special programs. If your child is in special programs, previous interventions that they've had in school or virtually, remotely, and previous retentions. Mr. Delgado?
Sí, cómo no. Ahora para los niveles de cuarto y quinto grado es un poquito diferente. Ya he hablado que en tercer grado el FSI juega un papel muy importante. Generalmente en cuarto y quinto grado no juega un papel tan importante. Hay veces que un estudiante puede sacar incluso un 1 en el FSI y todavía ser promovido o ser pasado al próximo curso. Eso no pasa en tercer grado. En cuarto grado lo que se busca es o que el estudiante consiga un 2 o más en reading y matemáticas o en language arts y matemáticas en el FSI. Si el estudiante no saca ese grado o no hace el test este año, vamos a tener un examen que debe ser aprobado por el Estado, que es un examen alternativo que todavía ahora mismo no sabemos cuál es, pero dentro de poco nos darán noticias de cuál es ese examen. No sabemos cuál es porque lo van cambiando. Hace años era el SAT-10, hace años era el Stanford, así que este año todavía no sabemos cuál va a ser ese examen, pero también, aparte de los exámenes estatales, para cuarto y quinto, la diferencia con tercero, para cuarto y quinto es que sí miramos toda la data, toda la información que hemos ido acumulando a lo largo del año. iReady, benchmarks, etcétera. Así que miramos toda la información que tenemos del estudiante antes de tomar la decisión de retener al estudiante en cuarto o quinto o de pasarlo al siguiente curso. También en cuarto y quinto hay otras causas por las que se puede pasar al estudiante de curso, como puede ser que el estudiante es un estudiante ESI, es un estudiante que tiene un plan personalizado de educativo, o un estudiante ESOL, también hay una posibilidad de que pueda pasar por ser ESOL. Así que hay muchas opciones diferentes y no solo el examen FC. Ms. Dillman?
Perfect. So before we go to our testing plan, I was looking at the chat. One important thing to understand, and I know it's the big question amongst the parents. So as you see for third, for example, as well as for fourth and fifth, I'm going to go back to third. There's multiple opportunities for your child to be promoted to the next grade if they master one of these assessments. The one thing I know that a lot of our parents, especially the ones that have their children in the AFAR model, are thinking, if I don't bring my child to participate in state testing, does it prevent them from moving forward? No, because what happens is, again, if you don't bring your child to participate in state testing, there are other opportunities for promotion. So that's why I wanted to provide that list to you tonight, so you can see it for third grade specifically, or if you have children also in fourth and fifth. So again, there's multiple things we look at in order to be promoted. We do have this criteria, again, provided to us from the state and the district. So it's not just a Franklin policy or assessments, it's given to us. This criteria is provided to us. So I know that was one of the questions in the chat. The other questions in the chat was more of the logistics, which we're going to go really in detail of what it looks like if you choose to bring your child to campus to participate in our state testing. Again, that's for our AFAR families. I know they're thinking of all the things on your mind is how long is the test? Where do I drop them off? What time do I drop them off? We're going to go over all of that information. So more questions, if anybody has questions before we go to our actual plan and what the dates are, it's another big thing on your mind of when they're taking the assessment. We're going to go over all of those things. But I did want to answer any questions about the actual assessment occurring for our Live Flex and AFAR students, as well as it linking or connecting to promotion. So Mr. Delgado, if you see anything in the chat or a family wants to raise their hand and we can, they can unmute. I know, Mr. Weiner, you had a question. Did I answer it or no?
Well, you did. You answered the first question, but as a quick question, how many of the criteria does my son have to pass? Like, is just one of them out of all the different criteria?
One of them. Yep, one of them.
Okay.
Yep. So they give you multiple opportunities, but as you see, like for example, Your son didn't take the state assessment. They just want you to know that there are other opportunities. If he passed portfolio, for example, he would have passed and he's ready to
Right.
move on to
Because I know
grade.
my son's grades haven't been the best this year because of the whole transition. So let's say he passes the state mandate, but his grades aren't that good, he'll basically pass.
Right. So again, it
Okay.
depends on the grade level. So for
But he's
third
in
grade, as
fifth.
you, well then perfect. Yeah, for third grade, as you see, there's no, I just want to clarify for the other grade levels, there's no mention of grades for the third grade promotion. As you see for fourth and fifth, we do take all types of school-wide data, benchmark testing, BAS, another alternative for reading and math. So
Okay.
those different opportunities.
Okay, perfect.
So it's not solely based off grades. You're correct.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
No, you're welcome. Any other questions, Mr. Delgado, or any hands up?
Yeah, I have a
Questions
question.
about logistics at the moment.
Okay,
Let me translate what you just said, okay?
perfect.
La pregunta primera que le habían hecho a Miss Dillman era sobre cuáles son las repercusiones de un estudiante que no tome el FSA. Y como han ido viendo, hay repercusiones a nivel de que le están privando a su hijo o su hija de una posibilidad de promotion. Pero como hay otras posibilidades, hay otras formas de promover o de mover de curso a su hijo o a su hija, no es tan grave como pueda parecer. También, por desgracia, nos privan de la oportunidad de tener un poquito más de información para cubrir las necesidades de su hijo el año que viene. Es decir, si su hijo realmente necesita clases intensivas y no tenemos tanta información, nos están privando de esa información. Pero al final del día hay otras maneras de recabar esa información. Así que, aunque nosotros, por supuesto, queremos que los chicos vengan a tomar el test, no es tan grave si no pueden venir a tomar el test. Las otras preguntas que había son más de cuánto dura el test, cómo llegan los padres a la escuela para dejar a los chicos, y eso vamos a ir sobre ello más adelante. Ms. Dillman?
Yes, I know there was another question I saw pop up. I was trying to scan through, especially for fourth and fifth. People were curious about, do they have to pass the English language arts and the mathematics in order to be promoted? So again, when I first discussed the promotion criteria, we also look at placement into the following year. So for example, with third, fourth, and fifth, we do have intensive reading. So if your child was in fourth, for example, and maybe they passed the English language arts, but they didn't pass the math, we would look at different, really all the data for them. Again, benchmark testing, different assessments we have to see if they're ready to be promoted to the next grade level. So if your child maybe didn't pass math, but they did pass English language arts, we would look at maybe an intensive structure for them to make sure that they have the support for the following year. So I hope that answers that question. Anything else besides logistics, Mr. Delgado, you notice?
Yes, there's a couple of questions. There's a couple of questions that I can give you. Give me a quick second. So one question was if this is a school, so the promotion is a Franklin thing or is a state, and it is the state, we said. Let me see. Will current accommodations apply to the test as well? We will talk about accommodations later on. So the short answer is yes. Will the fourth grade FSC scoring 2 or greater in both ELA and math? You just responded to that. Logistics. Okay, I think, the BAS. I think the iReady assessments considered for passing. In a way, yes, we'll consider the iReady for passing, for promotion. The benchmark assessment, if you're talking about the BAS, the benchmark assessment system, will be considered for third graders. We might, we're not there yet, but we might consider it. Also by my child, a teacher, that she passed her portfolio. That's great news because we're about to finish portfolio. Logistics. What is considered pass? Passes in FSA is 3 and above, but for promotion criteria, 2 and above, okay? The other assessments are live, yes. Every assessment that will discuss promotion criteria besides portfolio will be live. When do we get the results for the test? If you're talking about FSA, it's usually over summer, 2nd or 3rd week of June. And how many times can they take the bus? They usually take once every 3-4 months. Ms. Dillman, you can continue.
All right, perfect. So at this point, we're going to go into the logistics of our testing plan. We wanted to make sure we had a cohesive plan, again, to be ready to welcome our FAR students onto campus. We're going to go explicitly into now dates of when these assessments are going to occur. So pay very close attention. Ms. Amoedo is going to start and go explicitly into what 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade look like in regards to our testing plan.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so first I'm going to go over the calendar dates, and then in a few slides after I go over 3rd, 4th, and 5th calendar, then we'll talk about logistics. I saw there was questions about times, would you have to wait in the parking lot? So we'll go over all of that a little bit later on. So this is the testing plan for 3rd grade only. 3rd grade is taking 2 sessions for reading. So you'll see on the calendar that it's shaded in a different color for 2 blocks. So the first group that is testing, we're splitting it up based on their homeroom. So ELA homerooms, that's live students, flex students, and FAR students. If they have an ELA homeroom, so Ms. Duke, Ms. Martino, Ms. Ridge, Ms. Sosa, or Ms. Stewart, they will be testing on April 5th and 6th. So they have to go on both days to complete the both sessions of the reading test. I put whether it's an A day or a B day on the calendar because that's very important, especially for flex students. So flex students, they would have to come on both days. So April 5th is an A day. B students would also have to come on that A day. And the same thing goes for Tuesdays. Tuesday is a B day. So then flex A students would come on that B day. Just for those 2 days. It wouldn't mean that they're live for the entire week. They're just flex for the days that their homeroom is testing. Then we move on to Wednesday and Thursday. So math homeroom, so that's Ms. Kovachik, Ms. Madden, Ms. Morrison, and Ms. Sicard. If your child is in any of their homerooms, they will be testing live flex and FAR on April 7th and April 8th. Same thing goes with flex students. Flex students A or B, they have to attend both days. And then we're going to talk about the FAR students in the logistics portion. On the very bottom, there's a note: if your child from FAR does not participate in testing the day they are scheduled to test or does not show up to campus for testing, they will be marked absent for homeroom. So testing, and we'll talk about the times later on, testing is going to occur in the morning, and then they would continue their normal day in the afternoon. So if they're FAR, they would log into their Google Meet for the PM session. If they're on campus, then they would switch and then resume their normal schedule in the PM. That's for 3rd grade.
Okay, can we go back and I'll translate?
Oh, yes.
And very quickly, Ms. Delgado, before you translate, I just want to let the parents know we did send the email for the testing calendar. We sent specific emails to every separate grade level. We're going to go over logistics tonight. That was sent, as well as the testing calendar we're going over.
And let me just add one more thing, because I see the A and B question. So if
yes, I was gonna say that. Can you clarify A and B, because it's not different groups? Go ahead.
So this pertains to your instructional model. So some students are live, that means they come to school full time. Some students are flex A, that means they come to school every other day, so they come on A days. And flex B means that they come to school every other day on B days. So that doesn't mean that we're going to skip and only test on B days, for example, or A days. We're just putting that there for the flex students, and they're only coming when their homeroom is testing. So for example, if you have Miss Duke, then you're only coming flex. We're only talking about flex. Flex students will come on both days, the 5th and the 6th. Then the rest of the week, go back to your flex schedule. Okay, so it's not 4 days, it's just the 2 days that your student is scheduled. And that's for flex only.
Ok, so para los padres de tercer grado que hablen español, en primer lugar quería recordarles que hemos enviado este calendario, lo enviamos el día 15, el lunes, así que deberían haberlo recibido en su email. A cada curso, a cada grado, hemos enviado su propio calendario. Como ven en el calendario, el lunes día 5 y el martes día 6 vamos a hacer el FSA test a todos los estudiantes que tengan una maestra de ELA como homeroom teacher. Es decir, que el homeroom teacher sea Miss Duke, Miss Martino, Miss Rich, Miss Sosa o Miss Stewart. Si su hijo o hija tiene una maestra, tiene esa maestra como la maestra por la mañana, ese es el día que los estudiantes que estén afar, que estén en casa, van a traer a los chicos, los 2 días. Y algo muy, muy importante para los que estén en Franklin Flex, que significa que vienen cada 2 días, ¿verdad? El día A o el día B. Es muy importante que recuerden que esos 2 días no importa que sea A o B. Si su hijo o hija tiene un profesor de reading o de ELA como homeroom teacher, tienen que venir los 2 días. Los 2 días. Es decir, si su hijo es día A, va a venir el día 5 y el día 6, aunque el día 6 sea B. Y luego el resto de la semana ya normal, A, B, A, B. El miércoles y el jueves, el examen va a ser para los chicos que tengan homeroom teacher de matemáticas. Miss Kovacek, Miss Madden, Miss Morrison y Miss Sicard. Los que vengan todos los días de Franklin Live van a hacer su examen y por la tarde van a tener su día normal. Para los que estén en Franklin From Afar, van a venir a hacer su examen y por la tarde van a poder login, van a poder ir a la clase normal. Los de Flex, muy importante otra vez, los estudiantes que sean Flex, no importa que sea A o B, van a tener que venir los 2 días. Si su maestra de por la mañana es maestra de matemáticas, tienen que venir el miércoles y el jueves a tomar el test. El miércoles y el jueves a tomar el test. Este test tiene 2 sesiones, por eso son 2 días. Podríamos haber hecho la sesión en un día, pero creemos que no es beneficioso para nuestros chicos. Así que lo vamos a hacer en 2 días diferentes. En 2 días diferentes. Gentlemen, or Samuel?
Yes, okay, so 4th grade is only 1 session. So on April 9th, ELA homeroom, that's live, flex, and AFAR students, and we'll talk about more logistics later on. So it's all the instructional models, live, flex, AFAR. If your child is in an ELA homeroom, Miss Nicholson, Miss Perez, Miss Ramirez, Miss Santa, or Miss Schlossberg, they will come to school on April 9th. April 9th is an A day, so that's very important for flex students to know. If you're a flex B student, you usually would not come to school on an A day, but since their homeroom is testing on an A day, they will be coming to school. Then the following week, April 12th, is math homerooms turn to test, and that's just 1 session. They're taking the FSA writing. So 3rd grade was taking FSA reading, and that was 2 sessions. 4th grade is taking FSA writing, and that's only 1 session. So live, flex, and AFAR students in math homerooms are going to be taking it on the 12th. And we'll talk more. I know some of you are curious to know the times and drop off pickup, and we're going to go into it, I promise.
So let me respond to a couple of questions. So 3rd grade in April is doing FSA reading because since we use FSA reading for promotion criteria, we want to have those scores early in the year. FSA math will happen in May. 4th and 5th will have FSA writing in April. And then in May, they will have reading and math. Okay? Y ahora voy a traducir para los papás de 4º grado. Como ven ahí, en 4º grado, como les acabo de decir en inglés, en los papás de 4º grado que sepan que en abril van a tomar solamente el FSA de writing, de escritura. Y ya en mayo van a hacer matemáticas y lengua. O sea que solo es un día. Solo es un día. Y como ven ahí, depende de la clase que tenga su hijo o su hija para el homeroom. El día 9, si su hijo o su hija está en un homeroom de un maestro de inglés, de ELA, es decir, Miss Nicholson, Miss Pérez, Miss Ramírez, Miss Santa o Miss Schlossberg, van a venir el día 9. Y para los estudiantes flex, aunque ponga que es un día A, si su hijo es el día B, tiene que venir ese día. Si su homeroom teacher es un maestro de ELA. Para los estudiantes de cuarto grado que su maestro de homeroom sea de matemáticas, es decir, Mr. Lucas, Miss Mitchell, Mr. Mondejar o Miss Watson, el examen es el día 12. El día 12 van a tomar el examen de writing, solamente de escritura, que es un solo día. Y otra vez les digo, si su hijo o hija está en Franklin Flex, da igual que sea A o B, ese día tienen que venir a tomar su examen. Los make-up tests es un día que tenemos de make-up para que si han faltado ese día, va a ser el día 14. Samuel, can you go back one? Para los papás de tercer grado, lo siento, olvidé decirles, si ustedes no han podido venir ese día, el lunes y el martes, vamos a hacer make-up sessions, o sea, para que puedan tomar el examen si no han podido venir, los días siguientes. Como ven, el día 6 y 7 para el primer grupo y el 8 y el 9 para el segundo grupo. Samuel, you can continue.
And let me just clarify again, because I know it might be confusing for ELA and math. So we're not talking about the math homerooms are taking the math FSA. No, every homeroom is taking reading for 3rd grade and writing for 4th and 5th. So when we talk about math homerooms, that just means that that group is testing, but it doesn't mean that they're taking the FSA math at this time. That's later on in May. So when we say ELA homerooms and math homerooms, they're taking the same tests. ELA reading for 3rd grade and then ELA writing, FSA writing for 4th and 5th. Okay, so 5th grade, they also have just one session. So 5th grade ELA homeroom, that's Miss Cubero, Miss Elliott, Miss Hopkey, and Mr. Thrasher. Live Flex and FR students will come on April 13th to take their writing test, and that's an A day. So Flex B students would have to come on that day if their homeroom is one of those 4 ELA teachers. Math homeroom, so if your child is in Miss Bardo, Mr. Benoit, Miss Nichols, or Dr. White's math homeroom, they will be taking their writing test on April 14th. April 14th is a B day, so Flex A students would attend on that day. And then any 5th grade students that were not able to come on those days and did not take their FSA, their makeup would be on that Friday, April 16th.
Ok, so para quinto grado, estas son las fechas. Y déjenme aclararles algo que ha dicho mi Samuel, que es muy importante. Hemos usado el homeroom de matemáticas o de lengua solamente para separar grupos, pero no significa que los niños de homeroom de lengua vayan a tomar el examen de lengua y de homeroom de matemáticas vayan a tomar el examen de matemáticas. Eso no es así. Los niños de tercer grado van a tomar en abril el reading o el inglés. Todos, da igual el homeroom que tengan. Hemos decidido usar el homeroom de matemáticas o de lengua solamente para separarlos. ¿Okay? Lo mismo en cuarto y en quinto. ¿Okay? En cuarto y en quinto, el único examen que van a tomar ahora en abril es del de escritura, el de writing. Ya después, más adelante, tomarán los otros dos. Pero, otra vez, solo hemos usado los conceptos de homeroom de matemáticas y de lengua para separar en dos grupos. Los chicos de quinto que tengan un homeroom de lengua inglesa, es decir, que tengan a Miss Cubero, Miss Elliott, Miss Hopkey o Mr. Thrasher, es el día 13. El día 13. Y una vez más, aunque estén flex y aunque ese día no corresponda, tienen que venir ese día. Y los que tengan matemáticas como homeroom, Miss Barto, Mr. Benoit, Miss Nichols o Dr. White, el examen va a ser el día 14. Y para todos los que no hayan podido venir por cualquier circunstancia, pero todavía quieran tomar el test, vamos a tener un make-up session, una sesión para que lo puedan recuperar el test el día 16. ¿Ok? ¿Samuel?
Okay, so we're going to go over next the safety precautions and the logistics plan. So for live flex scholars, they will enter as usual. So as you know, if you've been dropping them off in the mornings, they will enter through the front entrance to receive the temperature scans via the thermoscan camera that we have in the lobby. and that's our normal practice. Afar scholars, they will be coming to campus at a different time. So I want to make sure that you understand that live and flex and Afar students will not be mixed during the day. So Afar students, when they come to campus, they will be completely separated from live and flex. That's one safety precaution that we are taking. Afar scholars will enter through the black gate closest to the gym to receive temperature checks via a hand scan digital thermometer. So instead of coming in through the lobby like live and flex students come in, they will be coming in towards the front by the gym gate and receive their temperature. Testing room locations. Live flex scholars will be testing in their homeroom locations, socially distanced as our normal practice. So if they have already been attending school, they are coming as normal and they already have socially distanced spaces in their classrooms. Afar students will be testing in varying on-campus locations apart from the live and flex. So they will be testing not with their homeroom teachers, but they will be testing with certified staff members. So our support staff, some extra leadership members that will assist in testing. So they are in good hands. The majority of the paper-based tests for Afar students will be in the gym. So it's a large location, nice air circulation, and they will be spread out. And I know in the very beginning, somebody asked about accommodation. So if your child does have accommodations, IEP, 504, or ESOL, they will be pulled into small groups. And again, live and flex, small groups will be happening in one location, and Afar small groups for those different accommodations will be happening in different locations.
Okay, so muy importante. Can you go? Okay, muy importante. Estas son las medidas que vamos a tomar y creo que esto es lo que les va a ayudar a ustedes a decidir si quieren traer a sus chicos a la escuela para tomar el test. Por eso nos vamos a tomar el tiempo de explicarles exactamente cómo va a ser el test. Estas son las medidas de precaución que vamos a tomar por el tema del COVID, por supuesto. En primer lugar, que sepan que no vamos a mezclar a los chicos. Si los chicos están en Franklin Live o en Franklin Flex, ellos van a tomar su examen en su clase normal y con su maestra, con su homeroom. ¿Okay? So, si su hijo o hija está en Franklin Live o Flex, ya vienen a la escuela, van a tomar el test en la clase con sus maestros. Ya saben, como siempre, vamos a tomar la temperatura como todos los días lo hacemos por la puerta principal y los chicos van a llegar a la clase y van a tomar su test con el mismo grupo de estudiantes que están todos los días. Por supuesto, si algún estudiante tiene algún tipo de acomodaciones, ¿saben? Por el 504 o por el IEP, a los estudiantes de Life Flex se les va, por supuesto, a honrar esas acomodaciones. Los chicos o chicas que estén en Afar, Franklin from Afar, y vengan a tomar el test, le vamos a pedir a los papás que vamos a usar la puerta negra que está a la entrada del gimnasio. Esa puerta que usamos para la mayoría de los eventos. Al final del car line, ahí está esa puerta. Vamos a tomar la temperatura de todos los chicos también. Tenemos un escáner manual para tomar la temperatura, porque es obligatorio, es una medida obligatoria que tenemos para todas las personas que están en la escuela. Y esos chicos van a ir directamente al gimnasio. En el gimnasio vamos a estar listos para decirles exactamente dónde van a tomar el test. La mayoría de ellos lo van a tomar en el mismo gimnasio. Estamos acomodando el gimnasio para que haya bastante distancia, no solamente 2 pies, pero más distancia entre los chicos. Y vamos a hacer una serie de secciones para separar las secciones. Así que vamos a asegurarnos de que los chicos están bien seguros y están separados. Por supuesto, el uso de máscara es obligatorio. Si su hijo está en Afar y tiene acomodaciones de 504 o IEP, van a ir a otro lugar, a otra clase más pequeña que va a estar preparada para los chicos. Como le digo, ni siquiera en este caso vamos a mezclar a los chicos de Afar con Life y Flex. Samuel?
Okay, now we're going to get into a lot of detail. So the logistics was sent on Monday. So I had the calendar first and then the logistics for each grade level. So For ELA homerooms, this first section is for you. So if your child is a third grader in an ELA homeroom, this chart will tell you everything you need to know. So the first one is who is testing. So if your child is in one of those classrooms, this applies to you, this section. And then it tells you each instructional model. So live students, you see that it says come to campus as usual and report to homeroom, just like any normal day. Flex A students, so this is where the flex situation comes into play. So flex A students on Monday, an A day, so it's a normal day for them. They're going to come to school as usual. Flex B students will come to campus during regular arrival, so 7:45 to 8:10, and report to homeroom. So flex B students will come on that A day as normal. So they'll come in and go through the lobby, just like a normal day. Then Tuesday, the opposite will happen for flex students. So Tuesday is a B day. If you are in an ELA homeroom and your child is a flex A student, they will come to school through the regular car line arrival. And if they're a B or a live, they're coming to school because it's a regular B day, just as they would any other day. So afar students, this is the heavy section and it explains every little detail, I think, that you need to know. If you want more details, we can discuss those if it's not on here. So arrival to campus, you will come to campus after the normal arrival. And this is so the live and flex are not mixing with the afar students. So we're separating them throughout the day. So they're coming to campus from 8:15 to 8:30. And we want to make sure that you stay within that time limit, just so we have time to start the live and flex and make sure that they're in the building before we start the second arrival window. So they'll be directed to enter through the black gate. And I saw some parents say that they have never been on campus yet. Welcome. And it will be easy to follow. There's staff members along the curb and you will not get lost. Attire, students should come to campus with their regular Franklin uniform. They're wearing their uniform for Google Meet every day. We understand they might have grown a little bit. So if they do not have bottoms that fit or too short, too long, they can come in just plain school colors with their Franklin polo or a solid color polo in our school colors. A snack, students may bring an individually packaged snack and water bottle. So that's very important because our water fountains are not currently working. They're shut off due to our safety precautions. So a water bottle is a good idea to bring with the snack that they will have at the conclusion of their session. So sessions are 80 minutes long. So they'll have that 80-minute time block, and then at the end, they'll have their snack. Specials of our students will not be attending specials on the day they report to campus. So you do not have to worry about bringing a laptop and having them log in. They're not going to specials on the days that their homeroom is testing. Live flex siblings, if you have children in another grade level in our live flex model, so we have that situation for some families where one of the siblings stays at home and then one of them comes to school. You can have the live flex student arrive with your FR student at that later time, and we'll fix that attendance issue so they won't be marked tardy. Pickup time, so you're free to wait in your car in the parking lot for 80 minutes, but not have to. You're going to be ready on the car line by 10:15 a.m. So you can drop them off and then come back at 10:15, and you'll put the placard just like if you're doing a normal dismissal, and we'll dismiss from the black gate just as a normal dismissal. If you haven't gotten a placard, because obviously you've been at home, if you just have a regular sheet of paper with their name and their homeroom, so we can get you out of there and they can be back in time for their PM session. And then PM classes, you will log in remotely to Google Meet for PM classes as normally scheduled. So once you pick up, and it should be around 10:15, 10:20, go back home, eat your lunch, and then be ready for the PM Meet session. So this email, I saw the question about the information, yes, it was emailed to
Yeah.
you, to all families on Monday via Swift. So if you did not get it, check your junk mail first, and then you could ask us, send it again.
Yes, a lot of questions, and I know Ms. Dillman has been answering those questions. Bueno, para nuestras familias en español, esta pantalla en particular es para tercer grado, para aquellos estudiantes que van a tomar el examen el lunes 15 y el lunes 5 y el martes 6 de abril. Acuérdense, son los chicos de tercer grado que tengan un maestro de inglés, de ELA, de homeroom. Es decir, Miss Duke, Miss Martino, Miss Rich, Miss Sosa y Miss Stewart. Todos los chicos van a tomar el test ese día, todos los que estén en ese homeroom. Si su hijo o hija está en Franklin Live o Franklin From Afar, o Franklin Flex, perdón, van a venir a la hora normal. En el regular car line, a la hora normal, desde las 7:45 hasta las 8. Van a venir a la hora normal y van a dejar a los chicos como cualquier otro día. Lo voy a contar una vez más. Acuérdense, Franklin Flex, da igual que sea A o B, tienen que venir los 2 días. Para nuestras familias que estén en Franklin From Afar y decidan traer a los chicos para el test, tienen que venir a partir de las 8:15. De 8:15 a 8:30, el regular car line, vienen en el car line, dejan a su hijo o hija donde sea y ya ellos los vamos a acompañar que vayan a la última, como dije antes, a la última puerta. Estamos pidiendo, por favor, que los chicos lleven su uniforme, que lleven los tops, lo que es la camiseta con su uniforme. Si no tienen, que nos está pasando mucho, que no tienen los pantalones apropiados, etcétera, que no traigan jeans, que sea un pantalón de colores sólidos, negro o azul marino, ¿ok? Si no tienen uno de Franklin, si tienen uno de Franklin, mejor todavía. Si no tienen camiseta de Franklin, igual, que sea una camiseta de color sólido, de azul claro o amarilla, ¿ok? Y no hay problema. Le estamos pidiendo que los chicos pueden traer un snack. No es un examen muy largo, pero siempre es bueno porque les entretiene, ¿verdad? Que traigan un snack, un pequeño snack, porque aunque vamos a pedir donaciones para snacks, no estamos seguros que vayamos a tener para todos los chicos. Les recomendamos que traigan una botellita de agua y un snack pequeñito, ¿ok? Para los chicos de Franklin From Afar, ese día no va a haber specials, no va a haber clase especial. ¿Okay? Van a recoger a los chicos a las 10 y, déjame estar seguro, specials, pick up time, a las 10:15, así que no va a haber tiempo para que tomen el special, así que ese día no va a haber special class. No tienen que preocuparse, que traer una laptop, cualquier cosa, no hace falta. No va a haber specials, ¿ok? Si tienen chicos en otras clases, you have a children in another grade level, and like that, you can drop off on the later time. Okay, so I don't get that, Amuedo. For Live or Flex siblings.
Yes, so if they have a Live or Flex sibling, so there's only a couple families that this affects. So some of them have Live or Flex students and then a FAR student.
Oh, okay. So si tienen un hijo, si su hijo de tercer grado está a FAR y tienen otro estudiante que sea Live o Flex, no hace falta que vengan 2 veces. I understand, I get it. No hace falta que vengan 2 veces. Pueden venir a las 8:15 y dejar a los chicos que estén Flex o Live a la misma hora. Como dije, la hora de recogida es a partir de las 10:15. Así que por favor estén listos a las 10:15 para recoger a los chicos. Si ustedes no tienen un placa, que no lo van a tener porque están en Franklin From Afar, pongan el nombre de los chicos en un pedazo de papel. A las 10:15, de 10:15 a 11 más o menos, vamos a recoger a los chicos y por la tarde los chicos van a estar preparados para tomar su clase de por la tarde, su clase de matemáticas. ¿Samuel?
Okay, the next slide applies to our math homeroom. So the same exact situation applies to math homerooms, where you're looking at those specific dates. So Wednesday, April 7th, math homerooms Live will come to school regular. It's an A day, so Flex A students will come to school regular. Flex B students will also come on that A day because their homeroom is testing. Then Thursday, April 8th is session 2. Live students will come regular. Flex B students will come regular. Flex A students will also come. at normal time because their homeroom is testing. And then Attire will follow the same exact model from before. I could repeat it if anybody needs clarification.
Igualito que lo que acabo de contar para las familias que tienen los chicos en el homeroom de ELA. Lo mismo para las familias que tienen el homeroom de matemáticas. El miércoles, día 7 de abril, y el jueves, día 8 de abril, lo mismo. Los chicos de Live y Attire van a venir los 2 días. El Carline normal. Los chicos de Flex... ay, Dios mío. Los chicos de Flex y Live van a venir, perdónenme. Van a venir los 2 días, Flex y Live, los 2 días por el Carline normal. Los de Attire van a venir a las 8:15, a las 8:15. Y lo mismo que hemos dicho, uniforme, el snack, no va a haber specials y van a poder atender la clase de por la tarde. ¿Me muero?
Okay, so next is 4th grade. 4th grade is just one testing day, so it's not a 2-day thing. Homerooms that are ELA. So Ms. Nicholson, Ms. Perez, Mrs. Ramirez, Ms. Santa, Ms. Schlossberg. They are testing on Friday, April 9th, which is an A day. So Live students and Flex A students will come to school like a normal day. Flex B students that are in those ELA homerooms will also come on that day. And then Attire students, same situation as.
Para los chicos de cuarto, acuérdense que el examen es del examen de escritura y es solamente un día. Es solamente un día. Y lo que es la logística es exactamente igual que hemos contado en tercer grado. ¿Okay? O sea, para los chicos que estén en Franklin Live o Flex, da igual qué día de Flex sea, A o B, si tienen el homeroom de ELA, Miss Nicholson, Miss Pérez, Miss Ramírez, Miss Santa o Mrs. Schlossberg, va a ser el día 9 de abril. Y van a venir con su Carline normal, a la hora de siempre. Las familias que estén afar, a distancia, igualito que he contado antes, de 8:15 a 8:30 van a venir. La única diferencia, como digo, el uniforme, por favor, el snack, la botella de agua, la única diferencia es la hora de recogida. En lugar de las 10:15 va a ser a las 11, porque este examen es un poquito más largo. Oh, you didn't mention it in English? Okay.
Yes, so sorry. That was a major point. So 4th grade and 5th grade writing is 2 hours. So pickup time will be at 11. That day would be a good idea to make sure that they pack a snack because they will be hungry after that 2-hour session.
Bueno, como les comentaba, la hora es las 11 para recoger a los chicos en cuarto y en quinto, a las 11. Y luego pueden entrar a su clase por la tarde, como normalmente. ¿Me Samuel?
And then Monday, April 12th will be the math homeroom, taking the writing FSA. So Mr. Lucas, Ms. Mitchell, Mr. Mondahar, and Ms. Watson's homerooms will be taking writing, which is 2 hours. It is a B day, so Live students and Flex B students will come to school normal. Flex A students will come on that day like if it was a normal day for them. And then Attire students, the same situation, and pickup time would be at 11.
We are getting that same question over and over, and even though Ms. Dillman responded, I'm going to say it out loud. If by any coincidence your child or the entire class has to quarantine during this testing time, we will make arrangements. There is a window to test your child, so we will make arrangements and we will test them after the quarantine. Okay? I'm going to say that now in Spanish. Hay una pregunta que está saliendo continuamente en el chat. ¿Qué pasa si en el día que tengo que llevar a mi hijo, a mi hija, tengo que estar en cuarentena, o mi hijo tiene que estar en cuarentena, o la clase está en cuarentena? Si ese es el caso, nosotros vamos a establecer una fecha futura, una fecha en la que puedan los chicos tomar el examen después. Tienen que pensar que lo que es el testing es una ventana, es un tiempo determinado que nos dan. Así que ya hemos contado con eso, tenemos eso en mente, así que podríamos hacer el examen después. La logística para los chicos de cuarto grado que tengan los maestros de matemáticas, Mr. Mondahar, Miss Mitchell, Miss Watson o Mr. Lucas, es la mismita que he dicho antes, pero lo que cambia es el día. Va a ser el día 12 de abril, lunes. Los chicos de Franklin Life y Flex, no importa qué día Flex, van a venir ese día todos a la hora normal. Y los chicos de Attire, como dije antes, a las 8:15. Y otra vez, la hora de recogida es a las 11, a partir de las 11. ¿Samuel?
In our last group, 5th grade. So 5th grade ELA homerooms will be having their writing test on April 13th. So Flex A and B students and Live students will come to school as normal. And then Attire students at 8:15, pick up at 11. And I'll just say the next one. So Wednesday is the math homerooms. Bardo, Mr. Benoit, Ms. Nichols, and Dr. White. So Flex A and B, it's a B day. Doesn't matter when your homeroom is testing. So Flex A and B and Live students will come at normal time, and then Attire students will come at 8:15 to 8:30, pick up at 11.
Go one slide back. Igualito para, thank you. Igualito para quinto grado. Les recuerdo que este es el examen de escritura. En abril toman el examen de escritura y ya en mayo el resto. Este particular examen para los quinto grado que tengan el homeroom de ELA, es decir, que tengan a Miss Cubero, Miss Elliot, Miss Hopkey o Mr. Trasher, cualquiera de estos tienen el examen el día 13 de abril, el día martes 13 de abril. Y lo mismito que expliqué en cuarto grado y en tercero aplica. Franklin Live y Franklin Flex van a venir a su hora normal. No importa que Flex sea A o B, van a venir ese día. Franklin from Attire van a venir a partir de las 8:15. Les recuerdo el uniforme, el snack, la botella de agua. No va a haber specials ese día. Y entonces van a recoger a los chicos a partir de las 11. Next slide. Para las familias de quinto grado que tengan el maestro de matemáticas como el homeroom teacher, Miss Barto, Mr. Benoit, Miss Nichols o Dr. White, el día es el miércoles 14 de abril. Ese día lo mismo aplica. Familias Attire van a venir a las 8:15 y van a recoger a los chicos a las 11. Live y Flex, no importa qué Flex sea, van a venir al horario normal. ¿Y Samuel?
Ms. Tillman's going to talk about the surveys.
Yes. I'm going to take over. She can take a sip of water.
Take it away.
So this is almost our last section. We're going to go over the parent survey, and then we're going to talk about the donations. So the parent survey, again, I want to be very clear on who it's going to be sent to. So again, this parent survey, the purpose of the parent survey is to see which of our families that have children in our Attire model, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, as well as middle school, which we'll be discussing tomorrow night. The survey will only be sent to those families. So I've already identified the families with children in the Attire model. Again, is the purpose for us to know if you're choosing for your child to participate. We want to plan accordingly. As you see, there's so many pieces of the puzzle for testing, and we want to make sure that everything, again, our top priority is the safety of your children in order to welcome them onto campus. The survey will be sent tonight after our parent night. I'm going to send the survey so you can begin completing that. Our deadline for completion is March 26th. Again, the deadline is very crucial for planning purposes to make sure everything is set up as you see for each of those days of testing that we're welcoming your child to campus.
Ms. Dillman, I want to add, because there's like a thought that our parents have that no matter what, I need to send my child for testing. I'm going to tell you, safety and your mental health override everything, even testing. If you are not comfortable bringing your child to school, I'm not going to say it's not a big deal, but you have the right to not bring your child to school. It is very important that you understand that. Your child will not be penalized. You will not be penalized. So please, if you are feeling very reserved for sending your child to school, do not feel that we or the state or the district is forcing you to do this. It is very important, from my part, it's very important that you understand this. So let me say it again. If you are feeling very stressed about sending your child to school, you can decide not to. So please, whenever you fill the survey, fill out the survey, do it making your choice. I know it's a short window, but don't do it right away. Talk it about it, talk it out, talk it into your family, because do not, yes, somebody's saying beyond stress, right? So yes, do not feel that, if that's your case, you can say no. You have the chance for not bringing your child to school. Your child will not be penalized. At Franklin, we have enough data information to make decisions, okay? And I will always ask you to call me and have that conversation if you're feeling very stressed about this, okay? Can I say that in Spanish, or you haven't finished this slide?
No, you can absolutely say it in Spanish. Thank you.
Thank you. Bueno, para nuestras familias en español, en cuanto acabe esta reunión, vamos a mandar un survey, una encuesta, para que la completen. Es muy importante, solamente las familias que estén afar, van a recibir esta encuesta. Si tiene su hijo en Franklin Flex o Franklin Life, no les vamos a enviar la encuesta, porque vamos a asumir que su hijo va a tomar el test, ¿ok? El deadline, el último día para rellenar esta encuesta es la próxima semana, el día 26. Es muy importante que tengamos la información porque vamos a tomar decisiones de dónde poner los grupos, etcétera, basados en sus respuestas. Van a recibir la encuesta. La encuesta es en inglés. Si tienen algún problema rellenando la encuesta, llámenme, yo les ayudaré a rellenar la encuesta, por favor. Y estaba diciendo ahora mismo en inglés que si ustedes están extremadamente estresados, y estoy hablando a los papás que tienen a sus hijos afar, si ustedes están muy estresados con la idea de enviar su hijo a la escuela para tomar el test, la seguridad está por encima de todo, Así que ustedes tienen el derecho de no enviar a su hijo a la escuela. Yo les garantizo que no va a haber una penalidad porque en Franklin tenemos muchísima información sobre sus hijos, muchísimo conocimiento sobre cómo leen sus hijos, cómo escriben sus hijos, cómo las matemáticas de sus hijos. Así que si la decisión de mandar a su hijo a la escuela a tomar un test es demasiado fuerte para ustedes, no lo mandan al hijo a la escuela y ya. No quiero que tomen la decisión a la ligera. Vamos a mandar el survey esta noche, pero piénsenlo, háblenlo, llámenme, cualquier cosa que haga falta y luego tomen la decisión que ustedes con la que estén más seguros. ¿Ok? Ms. Dillman?
Thank you, Mr. Delgado. I appreciate it. We're really going in depth and, and clarifying, making sure that it is parent decision. We are just presenting this information. We want to make sure that our families have the opportunity from afar to bring your children, and we're going to set it up safely for you. You know us at this point, and we hope that you trust us in this process, and we want to be here for you. So in the chat, as you were seeing, we don't want to bring additional stress. We've all had our own experiences throughout this whole situation, really from last March to this March. So we're here to support you guys. This is just one start to the conversation. We know we're going to have many more conversations with our families. So we're here to support you. Please email us, reach out to us. We're here to really provide information so that you can be informed. So again, the parent survey that's going to go to our families of, again, only AFAR models, making sure that you are provided an opportunity, again, to let us know if you would like to participate in the state test. Again, it's parent choice and determination if you want to choose for your child to come to campus. So this is the survey and how it's going to look for you when you receive it tonight, the link. Again, the due date is next week, the 26th. So you do have time to either ask questions. We are working into spring break. Our educators will be off next week, but we will be here to support you. If you have any questions, please direct them to administration, myself or Mr. Delgado. So this form, again, was developed to provide our Franklin Academy families with children in our FAR model regarding whether your child will be coming onto campus to take state assessments while you're continuing the distance learning of FAR model. So again, we are specifically talking about the April testing window, which is 3rd grade reading, FSA reading, and 4th and 5th writing. So I did see a lot of families were asking about May. So as you see, April, we took a lot of time to make sure that all of these details were planned out for you. May has not been planned fully. So we will be providing the May window for testing by April 15th. So we will not be sending any information about May, which will be other assessments your child will be taking if you choose for them to come to campus. Again, this form needs to be completed by March 26th, only for AFAR students' families in grades 3rd through 8th grade. And I saw a parent asked about middle school. We're going to be talking more specifically about 6th, 7th, and 8th tomorrow. Mr. Delgado?
Yes, let me add a silly thing, but if you have an AFAR student and do not receive the survey, please let us know. If you are Franklin Live or Flex and receive the survey, please ignore. Bueno, para nuestras familias en español, el survey va a ser muy sencillito, ¿ok? Es muy facilito. Lo van a, como les digo, van a tomar la decisión, no solamente para ahora, para abril, sino para abril y mayo, para todos los exámenes de FSA. Todos se van a tener que tomar en la escuela, así que la decisión que van a tomar ahora, estamos asumiendo que es para toda la temporada de FSA, como van a ver ahí, desde el 5 de abril hasta el 28 de mayo. Así que si deciden que no, vamos a asumir que es para todos los exámenes de FSA. ¿Okay? Como les digo, es muy importante que nos contesten antes del día 26, porque vamos a tomar decisiones de cómo poner ciertos grupos, cómo agrupar a los chicos, basado en esta información. ¿Ok? Ms. Dillman?
Another important thing before I go further into the survey, just a couple more slides. I did want to clarify something. One of the parents asked about the pickup at 11 for 4th and 5th grade. So when we're discussing anything about pickup that's going to happen in the middle of the day, that's for the AFAR families. If your child is in a live or flex situation, they're going to experience the full day of school as they normally do. So any of those pickups, again, the earlier pickups for 3rd grade would be AFAR students. Again, they're not staying the full day. They're taking the assessment and then they're being picked up. So I did want to clarify that. Other questions about the materials. Again, if an AFAR student or your child is coming from remote learning to campus just for the assessment that day, we just want them to have that water bottle. They can have 1, 2, as many water bottles as they need, and a snack that's individually wrapped, as well as a pencil. They do not need to have their laptop because they're not logging into live instruction during that time. And they do not need additional books that they're bringing. So again, they're just taking the state assessment during that time for AFAR students, and then you will be picking them up to do remote learning in the PM. So to go further with the survey, again, this is relevant to our AFAR students. There's certain questions you're going to receive. This is the one big question that we're discussing tonight. Will your child come to campus for testing? I did want to clarify, the survey is per student. So if you do have children in 3rd, 4th, and 5th, you're actually going to complete a survey per child if your child is from AFAR. So this is going to allow us to get that information from you if you are willing to have your child participate in testing. Again, it is your choice. It is not a mandate. We are not mandating or requiring your child to come from AFAR to campus. If you want your child to participate in state testing, they do have to do it on campus. It cannot be done at the house. Mr. Delgado?
Yes. Bueno, en primer lugar, como les he dicho antes, este survey, esta encuesta, es solamente para familias que tienen a sus hijos en AFAR, a distancia. Si ustedes, lo vamos a enviar esta noche. Si ustedes no reciben la encuesta, por favor, mándenme un correo, déjenme saber y se la enviaremos. Y si ustedes tienen a su hijo en Franklin Live o Franklin Flex y reciben la encuesta, por favor, ignórenla, no la rellenen. ¿Okay? Otra cosa importante, si tienen más de un hijo, necesitamos que rellenen la encuesta por cada hijo. O sea que si tienen un hijo en tercero, uno en cuarto y uno en quinto, por favor, rellenen la encuesta 3 veces. Okay? I think that's all, Dylan.
Perfect. And the one last thing before I go to the next slide is, again, we are not mixing live and flex students will be testing in their homeroom setting as they normally report to. Our FAR students will not be reporting to their homeroom location. We're doing separate testing locations. And this is really for safety protocols to make sure that we do contact tracing. We don't want to mix students that have not been on campus with students that are in the model for live and flex.
And yes, masks are required for everyone at all times in the building. Yes.
Perfect. The next question that you're going to receive is, does your child have a pair of headphones or plug-in headphones that they can bring for testing? Now, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, it is not computer-based, it's paper-based. So that question is going to be relevant for our middle school students. We'll be discussing that tomorrow. That's for our 7th and 8th graders. Again, 3rd, 4th, and 5th is paper-based testing. So they do not need headphones or laptops. Mr. Delgado, do you want to explain that in Spanish?
Yes. La última pregunta del survey es sobre si ustedes tienen, que los chicos pueden traer a la escuela los headphones para tomar el test. Esa pregunta en realidad no aplica por ahora para este. Gentlemen, they actually apply for the future, for May, right? Oh, mentira,
It's paper-based.
Never mind.
No, it's paper-based.
Sorry, it's 8:30.
Don't confuse our families.
Sorry, it's 8:30. Perdonen, esta solo aplica para los chicos de 7º y 8º, porque todos los exámenes desde 3º hasta 6º grado son en papel. Así que no se preocupen por la última pregunta. Esa pregunta es solamente para 7º y 8º. I'm sorry, Miss Dillman. It's late. Yes, all,
it's okay,
all
no
tests,
worries.
3rd grade to 6th grade are paper-based.
And again, so our donations for testing, we're asking for these donations. If you're in the years past, you remember your children coming to you about they had a snack that day. So we do like to provide snacks for all the hard work that they did during their test session. And these snacks, especially this year, more than any year, we want to make sure they're individually wrapped. So for example, pretzels and goldfish and granola bars, also packs of bottled water, as you see in the images on the screen, and pre-sharpened pencils. That's a super important part about having the pencils sharpened. And we really want to ask for donations from our families. We're grateful for anything you could give. Again, it's not a requirement. We just want to make sure, again, we're as safe as possible with everything we provide. We don't want to be mixing or sharing of pencils during any test sessions we have. The drop off for any of these donations, again, we're grateful for whatever we're able to receive. This is going to happen in the front office during the week, starting March 22nd to the 26th. Again, we're doing it this week because it doesn't conflict with school being currently in session. And that's going to be from anywhere from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. If you have a lot of stuff, just go to the front door and ask them. We can get a cart for you depending on how much you bring. But again, we're grateful for anything you're able to provide to help our students.
Como dice Ms. Dillman, estamos aceptando donaciones para testing como hacemos todos los años. Generalmente damos una hora de servicio, de service hours, pero este año no hay horas de servicio, así que le vamos a dar las gracias eternamente si nos traen algunas donaciones para los snacks de los chicos. Por desgracia, no todos los chicos vienen con un snack y para nosotros es importante que tengan ese pequeño snack, entretenimiento, y entonces con las donaciones nos ayudan tremendamente a proporcionar los snacks a los chicos que no han podido traer un snack. Estamos aceptando lápices, ¿okay?, que estén previamente afilados ya, y también bolsas pequeñas de snacks que estén selladas, ¿verdad? Como bolsas como ven en las fotos, bolsas de papas, bolsas así que estén selladas. Pretzels, goldfish, granola bars son muy populares, ¿verdad? Y botellas de agua. A mí me gustan particularmente las más pequeñitas, son más fáciles, los chicos nunca se la beben entera, así que las pequeñitas están bien. Les estamos pidiendo que las entreguen en la oficina a cualquier hora la semana que viene entre las 8 de la mañana y las 2 de la tarde. Ms. Dillman, I see questions about the testing in the chat.
I was going to answer those, and yes,
Go for it,
you're
go for it.
being complimented on your Spanish. So thank you so much for
Oh.
translating tonight.
Muchísimas gracias.
So I wanted to answer the question about what is April testing how is it different from May? So it's just the assessments and the subject that's happening. So for example, for third grade, they take the third grade reading FSA earlier in the year. The reason that happens is because the state wants to provide scores, because the promotion for reading or for third grade is reading. The third grade students take reading in April, and then for third grade specifically in May, they're going to take an FSA mathematics test. For fourth and fifth, it looks a little bit different. So for fourth, they're taking the writing, which is happening in April, the FSA writing test. In May for fourth grade, they're taking the English language arts FSA assessment, as well as mathematics, and that's for fourth grade. For fifth grade, they're taking the writing test in April, which is what we discussed tonight for fifth. In May, they're going to take the English language arts FSA, the mathematics FSA, and the science, which is called the NGSSS, which is just another name for the type of standards that are included. So again, each grade level has different assessments. And as you see, there's more assessments being taken in May for fourth and fifth. So we have to plan accordingly. And that's why we're going to have a whole separate parent night once we get closer to that test session. So I did want to clarify that. Let me just make sure. I know we're right at the end. So we are here for questions. I know we went longer into this night than we expected, but again, we appreciate everybody who was able to continue to be logged on tonight. We are going to provide an additional session. What happened tonight is we actually maxed out at 100 people, and it wasn't expected. We didn't plan that. So I did send a SWIFT out to third, fourth, and fifth families, which you received, as well as a text that we're going to do an additional session for any of those families that missed it tonight. So we really apologize if they were texting you and telling you they couldn't get in. We didn't expect that to happen. So we apologize for that. I know it is time for questions. So we're going to look at the chat and I'm going to try to just kind of keep up with what's going on. But again, before we end in the night, I wanted to say how much I appreciate our families and thank you for joining us tonight and continuing this journey with us. It's been a lot of different things happening with each one of you guys. I know you've been strong for us and for your children, and we appreciate you.
I couldn't say that better, Ms. Dillman.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
There is a question, I don't know if you went over it. There's a question about, will my third grade teacher notify me if my third grader has the option of not taking the FSA? If you mean by that if your teacher going to communicate with you to tell you that your child has passed portfolio, they might not, but you can always ask them. You can always ask them. It's actually pretty smart. Like, okay, my child has passed portfolio. Okay, I'm not sending them to testing. It's actually a pretty smart idea, but they might not tell you. So I encourage you to ask them. Okay. More questions?
I did see a couple of questions about the makeup sessions, asking how that works. So essentially, of course, we want to make sure, your child is well to test as well. If they do come to campus from afar or live and flex. So if your child is not feeling well, particularly for that day, again, we recommend you keep them home. Please do not push your child to come to campus. If they're not feeling well or having any type of symptoms, we will schedule a makeup session. Again, we are going to be calling families who don't show up to the session and have not informed us, for example, from afar. We want to make sure that we have that consistent communication. So if your child does not attend a session, we will be reaching out to make sure that they are scheduled and you know how the makeup session is going to work. No, what is a SWIFT? That's a great idea. That's a great question. So the SWIFT is just the way that we mass communicate to our families. It's called the K-12 SWIFT. That's
I don't know. I
funny
thought
question,
it
but
was
it's a good
something like
question.
I'm asking my wife what Swift is, and she's like, I don't know.
No worries.
Sorry.
It's just our way to mass communicate. But the really important thing, which I wrote in the chat earlier, I think we were chatting in the box, is about the junk mail. Sometimes our emails for the K-12 SWIFT goes to junk mail. So just make sure you check that junk folder first.
If your child's teacher has to be away from the building, either for positive COVID or being quarantined, we have trained almost every single person in the building will have someone to take over. An educator who will take over your child's test session. Okay. All right. So thank you very, very much. We did schedule this meeting a little later to provide everybody the opportunity to join us. So thank you. Thank you for staying until the end. And if you have any more questions, do not hesitate to email us. We will respond right away, okay? All right, can we get an extension on the survey? That is a hard deadline. We need to plan. The importance of the survey is that we need to plan, okay? So if you can email your teacher, your third grade teacher before to get an answer, but I will say that it is a hard deadline because we're making decisions on logistics based on the survey. You can contact me, you can contact Mrs. Dillman or Ms. Amuedo. The three of us will be able to give you an answer. Okay. All right. Thank you very, very much, everyone.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. And it was great seeing everyone tonight.
Thank you. Bye. See you soon. Samuel, I think you need to close the meeting to record that, to save the recording.
Yes.
Okay.
And make sure, do you want me to copy the chat box before you go for the sign in, or did you do it already?
I haven't done
Please
it.
copy it. I think that when you close it, it does the transcript, but copy it just in case.
Awesome.
Okay, let me
Yeah,
do
everybody.
it real quick before you close it.
Thank you.
All right, I'm ready.
All right. Bye, everyone. Good night.